The day has arrived for me to build my second mining rig, this time around with 6 GPUs, 6 3060 Ti's. So if you've been watching my unboxing videos, you've already seen the parts, but now we're going to get it all put together. First thing we're going to do is get our motherboard and power supply together here. So we've got our Asus Prime Z390P motherboard. So we're going to go ahead and get this out of the box. Mounts put on the case here. So we get that part. We have our mounting points. And let's see where our holes are on the board. Board out. There. 1, 2, 3. If at any point during this video you are wanting to see the parts that I am using, like I said, I did do some unboxing videos just recently, but I'll also have all the links in the description for not just the components, but also like the frame, basically every part that I've ordered. So if you want to see exactly what I'm using, you can click on those links. Or if you're looking to kind of copy me on this, you can feel free to use those links to order. Helps me out. Those are affiliate links with Amazon there. Even if you don't order anything directly from the link, I still use the link and it helps me out. Okay, I think that's it. There are only six holes that I'm seeing on here. Everything lines up. The only thing I wanted to check before I mount this was the CPU cooler. I want to make sure if this is something I just pop in from the top or if I need to put any screws underneath the board. How did I get this out the first time? There we go. Okay, now this should just push right in, so we should be good there. But yeah, given the positioning of this, I'm going to need to put the cooler on first. So I'm going to go ahead and pull this back out. Alright, so here's our processor. Oh. Go ahead and release the bracket. Lift this up. Alright, and then we need to match up our arrow. So it goes in just like that. Yep, only fits in one way. Push this down, and this should pop out. There we go. So that can get discarded. Now we've got the CPU, and now we want to go ahead and attach on our stock CPU cooler. Let's go ahead and get the plug pulled out here. Alright, so that's going to go into CPU fan right there. Perfect. And let's mount it. That should work. Line that up over the 4 holes, and then turn and push. Oh, maybe it did go in. Felt like it wasn't in all the way. Nope. So there you go. Those are secured on the back there. You can see the little plastic clips they push through. So it's just pushing on all 4 of those, and then that pops the cooler on. All right. The cheapest DDR4 RAM I could find. I've never heard of this brand before. I have no idea if it's any good. 16 gigs. 8 gigs would have been plenty, but you know, why not? So we've got our 2 sticks of DDR4. This is, yeah, DDR4, 2400 megahertz, 2 sticks of 8 gigs each. Alright, sometimes one of these colors is the one that you're supposed to put in, that you're supposed to fill first. I didn't look at the motherboard manual, so they're gonna go into the gray ones. And 2. Okay. Make sure those are in. Nice and secure. Okay, now I think we're ready. So let's go ahead and move this one more time. Get this out of the way. And go ahead and slide in the board again. Get this turned around. Line up our screw holes. You can see here, you definitely don't want a cooler that is too tall. So you've got this bar that's going to be in your way. There we go. Now we just need to attach the motherboard. All right, motherboard mounted, installed, CPU, memories in. Do a little cleanup. Get this all out of the way. Now let's get our power supply mounted. Pretty excited for this thing. EVGA 1300 watt, 80 plus platinum, fully modular power supply. So there is that thing. All of our different ports. It is recommended to install the power supply with the fan facing down. However, if a case places the power supply at the bottom of the case and there is no ventilation holes available, it may be best to... Okay, so there is ventilation. As you can see here underneath this, there is a hole in the frame for the power supply to be able to breathe. So we're going to put it in fan facing down. Okay, tighten those up. Only need 3 screws on this, just because this mining rig only has 3 places for a screw to secure that. There we go. So now we have our power supply mounted. I've got a box of fans, additional case fans to help keep things cool. I got a box of those. I think I'm going to save those for the very end. Last time, if you watched my first build, the fans ended up blocking all of the ports. So I believe before I mounted them here on the outside, and then so the screws went in here. But in order to get the screws in through there, I needed to have the graphics cards not in the way. So it's kind of this catch-22 of, what do you put on first, the fan or the graphics cards? That's my current question I'm pondering. So I want to put these on now or wait. So we're going to wait for the moment. Here's my bag of risers. Got 6 of these in here. So this is going to be what the graphics cards mount into. Like this. So we're going to have the riser plug right into those PCI ports, and then they'll come back they'll sit on the paneling wherever they need to sit, so the graphics cards can get mounted on there. So I'm going to go ahead and get all of these plugged in. And our last one. Now I'm not 100% sure if this board can support 6 graphics cards. I'm kind of banking on it, but I didn't 100% do my research. I believe it does, but there may be a little bit of finagling to get that all to work. So there we go. We have all 6 of our cards connected. Probably should have ran them under, now that I've done all that. Now they'll come up through the back like that. Alright, let's start getting some graphics cards out. I think I'm going to put probably, I've got 3 gigabyte, 3 fans, and then 2 MSI with 2 fans. I don't think it really is going to matter. But I might put the bigger ones over here. because they're going to have 2 cables going to them, so more cables on this side. I think that's what I'll do. So let's start off with a gigabyte card. There's the box. So there we go. There's our gigabyte card. We're gonna keep some sanity here and keep these things going in order. Go ahead and secure this card in there. Snaps in. Lock it in place. And I'm just gonna kind of set these all in place for now. I might need to put I might need to go ahead and put at least 1 screw in just to kind of hold it. Yeah, because otherwise this thing is going to fall, and I do not want that to happen. And now we've got 5 more to go. You'll also notice the gigabytes, the reason I said I was going to put them closer to the power supply, these have a 8 and a 6 pin power requirement. So they need a additional cable ran to them. And that is my reasoning for putting them closer to the power supply. Just so more cables, those cables aren't running all the way across. And I don't know how long the modular cables that I was given even are. So I want to make sure I've got enough room. All right, now we're moving to the MSI cards. The MSI Ventress 2X. These are a shorter card. They're going to mount in the same way though. And they're just a little bit shorter. You've really got to be careful with the MSI cards. I'll tell you why. They don't put their cards in a closed box. It is literally just this. So if you were to open it upside down, your card would just fall out. So just something to make note of. Putting together building computers, and now I've built, I don't know, I've lost track of how many computers I've built over the years. I really enjoy it, and that's actually probably the reason I like cryptocurrency so much, is it gives me an excuse to buy a bunch of computer parts, build a bunch of computers, and actually be able to make some money off of it all. But yeah, what I was about to say is might have to move some of these around, as I'm kind of playing it by ear on the order to put all this in here, because I haven't plugged any power to the motherboard yet, so I don't know if I can get my hands into there properly. Oh man, I could easily fit 2 more cards. I just don't have the motherboard to support it. Maybe my next build will be a 8 GPU with a mining motherboard. All that. I'm going to be running the operating system right now on an external USB drive. It's actually just a show you. It's actually just an SSD mounted in here. So I'm going to be using this to configure the mining OS so I can plug it into my computer. But then once everything's smooth and up and running, I'll probably just plug that directly into the build. Alright, so now looking at this here, I definitely am seeing I'm probably going to shift some of these over at some point. But let's go ahead and get some power connected. Those are all 8-pin to 8-pin video. So that's actually perfect. That's the ones for these. We got a bunch of little SATA power connectors, which will need those. Each one of these cards will also need power, which will also be fun. Maybe I'll spread these cards out a little bit more. Maybe that'll be my fix. Help get some wiring positioned in there. Alright. Let's go ahead and start wiring this up. Alright, so we are back. I've made a few quick adjustments off camera. Believe me, nothing too exciting. Spaced these out a little bit better, as you can see. So that'll help airflow and also help plugging in all these riser cards that we still gotta get power to. The cable management is already starting to become a nightmare. So let's, oh, this thing's heavy. There we go. So I did go ahead and plug in the motherboard. I was thinking about feeding it under here, but I don't want to put any strain on that plug, so this is coming straight up. So yeah, it's a little ugly. All these cables, trying to keep them as clean as possible. But now let me just go ahead. We're going to plug in our graphics cards. So we've got 8 pins to 8 pin. So that's going to be our MSI cards. So what I'm actually going to do, I think, is plug it into the graphics card first, and then we'll cable manage it as nicely as possible all back down to the power supply. It is what it is. Alright, and then, since it did not come with, unfortunately, an additional one, I went ahead and bought a cable, and I think I got this correct. Yes, it looks correct to me. Unfortunately, it's going to stand out like a sore thumb, but there's our last 8 pin, and can I pop this off? There we go, and 6 pin for those. Hopefully that's a decent cable. The power supply does have room for 6 8 pins. They just don't give you the cables, because these are all 8 pin cables. They just didn't give you the that breakout for that one there. But should be no problem running it on this particular piece. What you don't want to do, from my research, is you don't want to split like a 6 pin plug into an 8 pin or an 8 and a 6 pin. You know, if you're starting with an 8 pin and you've got, you know, it's supported for this, rated for this, then you should be good to go. And then we need to plug in power for all of our peripherals. You know, I probably should have connected these before I put the card in, but I have small hands, so I think I can make it work. There we go. Yeah, so I'm gonna go under through the back here. So I do have 6 of these technically, so I could run one to each card and not have to do this. Why make it harder on ourselves? It's just I will have to use 2 of those Molex connectors. So much for a modular power supply, because I'm literally going to be using every cable, I believe. Oh, I've got to watch out to make sure these other ends of these cables don't get caught up in the fans. Well, the good thing is I won't have to worry about losing any of my extra power cables if I use them all. Have I tested any of this stuff yet? Nope. YOLO. And then the last one, save the easiest one for last, because it is just sitting right out here on the end. Boom. Alright. A quick coffee break here. Now, all of these cables have to get plugged in back here. Whew. Alright, I believe everything is plugged in. Shall we try to turn it on? I do need to plug in the hard disk drive. And let's see, I need to put in my power switch. Let's see, power LED hub, power switch is pins. I know that probably didn't make too much sense, but counting the position of the pins, then we got our power button. look at this thing. They even make sure that you know that you need to use their cable. It's a lot. Let's do a quick sanity check here. Everything's got power. Graphics cards are plugged in. I'm just doing a power on test. So, plug into the wall. Plug on power supply. Here we go. Oh, they turned on. Alright, give it just another second here. Obviously, we're going to need a monitor and plug in our hard drive so we can actually see what's going on here. So I will be right back. Alright, so we're back in the mining room and got everything plugged in, mouse, keyboard. I've got my bootable hard disk plugged in, running nice hash OS, just quick and simple here. So we're going to go ahead and turn our power supply back on. Got power. And this is my first time booting it up, so we're just going to do a quick check and see what we get. Alright, so we've got power there, keyboard's lit up. I just plugged into the onboard HDMI, so I might actually need to switch this to probably one of the graphics cards if I don't get anything here. Oh, we got blue. Oh, that's pretty. Alright, let's try something different. Alright, so I have moved this into a different room just so I could plug in my Ethernet cable, and I went ahead and installed Windows. Was having trouble with the nice hash OS launching. It was like crashing as soon as it would try to launch. So I've currently got 4 of the 6 cards running. Currently, if I plug in either of these two, it will not boot. Not a Windows issue. It actually won't even post to the BIOS. So currently looking at some settings on that. Disable some stuff on the motherboard. See if I can get all 6 of these running. So either after this will be a clip of me with them all running, or the suspense will be left and it'll be a follow-up video. Alright, so I figured out how to get all 6 of them working. I watched a couple different videos, so I'm going to go ahead and turn this on. And I'm going to show you the change I made. So we'll go ahead and jump into our BIOS here. Okay, so the first thing I had to do was update the BIOS. So you hit F7 after you get into the BIOS, and you go over to Tool, and there's a Easy Flash utility here. You can actually update right from the internet. So that was pretty easy to do. That was on that. And then the other change was here. Yep. So System Agent SA configuration under Advanced, enabling above 4G decoding. Now I'd watched a video of a guy who just did the update and made that change, and everything, that's all the changes that he made, and it worked, so I think that's all you have to do. I did disable some SATA ports too. Now here's the disabled SATA ports. So I left the first SATA port enabled, that's what I'm running Windows off of, and I disabled those. I don't know if you need to, just showing what I did there. Like I said, disabled some of the, I disabled the LED lighting on the motherboard. There it is. So under APM configuration, there's one called Restore AC Power Loss. This is set to power off by default. So I set it to last state. So if it's currently running and power is lost and comes back, it will resume on. And then I have it set up to where it automatically boots into Windows, which we'll see here in a second. I installed Windows 10 Pro. It currently lets you set up a local user account without having to connect your Microsoft account. So I wanted to do that on this rig. I just want it
you know, I don't I don't need this attached to anything. I just need it for the software, for the miner. Nice hash mining software. There you go. So I'm currently using Quick Miner just to get this thing up and running. It's super easy to on these 30 series to use Quick Miner, even though these are light hash rate cards, so they're going to be at half hash rate. It just gets the clocking and the temperatures down, the power usage down to a great level. So until I have time to really sit and work through it, that's going to be the way I go. Let me give this a refresh. Huh. Yeah, those two are still... Two of them are not mining. I'm going to see if I can add more virtual memory and then see if that helps us. Okay, we're back up and running. Things seem to be better now, so I went and set virtual memory. So you go into settings, type in performance, and then set the virtual memory manually. From what I looked up, it recommended setting virtual memory to the size of the memory of your graphics cards. So the 3060 Ti is 8 gigs, 6 of them, so that's 48 gigs. So I set up a required size of virtual memory of 48 gigs. So adjust the appearance and performance of Windows, and then under advanced, virtual memory. So I set it manually there. So you uncheck automatically manage and set it manually. So now it is set 48 gigs of virtual memory, and my errors have gone away on here, which is great. It looks like all 6 cards are performing. So let's look on Nice House now. So yeah, like I've said, I might do another video on changing these. But for now, it's up and running. Good enough. Get some mining done on this, and I'll probably be moving this thing out into my garage because it's like 85 degrees in here. So, alright everybody, thanks for watching this video. Hope it was enjoyable, helpful, whatever you watched it for, and I will see you all in the next video. I hope you have a great day.